Honestly, viewers, I knew this day would come, this time period where AI art is now being seen as something to be feared, being seen as to something that we need to get rid of and dismantle. You see, AI art is under attack the past few days. Traditional artists are viewing AI art as a threat. They think that AI art is something we need to get rid of. And they also think that AI art is just complete theft of other artists' property. There have been several viral tweets that have occurred. A GoFundMe has been started. There's been a huge movement on art platforms to just completely get rid of AI art. So obviously I'm going to have my own opinions about this, and so will you, and I'd love to have a healthy discussion in the comments about this with everyone. I think that's what we need to have, is a healthy discussion, because it's something we need to talk about. But as an arbiter of AI art, as someone who makes videos about AI art and has been using the technology since its inception, I think I have some qualification at least to provide an opinion on this matter. We're going to overlook everything today in this video and really break it down and get into this. So let's get into some of the big claims here made by artists as to why AI art needs to be banned, why we need to abolish AI art and it shouldn't be a thing. Now, a lot of this discussion is actually taking place on Twitter, and I've been making some comments about it on Twitter as well. So we're just going to scroll through some of these top comments by artists. If you search up AI art on Twitter, you will be brought forth a lot of the more popular opinions here. So this person says, generally artists don't dislike AI art because it's not real art, although I have seen this claim before. A lot of artists are saying AI art is not real art. That's actually what this tweet right under it is talking about. We'll get into that one too. But they say artists dislike AI art because the programs are trained unethically using databases of art belonging to artists who have not given their consent. That's a pretty wild claim. They're claiming that the art used to train the databases is not obtained legally, is what I'm sort of extrapolating from this. And we'll get into whether or not that's actually the case later in the video, but yeah, that's a pretty bold claim here. That's what I'm hearing, is that the databases were not grabbing this art legally. Because, I mean, if the databases did actually acquire the art legally, there would be no problem, correct? So yeah, they straight up claim in this tweet that AI art is theft because the art is obtained illegally and unethically. Ethics are one thing, but not given their consent. I'm just saying, people agree to terms of service all the time and they don't really look at the terms of service. We've got another tweet here. Again, this person says that generally artists don't dislike AI art because it's not real art. This person says that AI art is not real art, saying the definition of art here, the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination. Typically in visual form, human creative skill and imagination, so they say skill here, and they're saying that this is a reason that it's not real art because AI art doesn't possess any real skill. There's a lot really to unpack with this claim, so we're going to define skill in a little bit, but let's talk about whether or not humans can actually apply their own skill into AI art. I think this is actually true. There are a lot of people who use AI art that pour hours into it, trying to perfect a certain prompt, tweaking things, adjusting things. I had a conversation with the creator of the AI art website Playground AI, where he went through and discussed with me the ways he was able to tweak subtle little details in a stable diffusion generation just by tweaking the prompt and using the same seed. And I think prompt crafting, the ability to craft a really good prompt for a certain model, is definitely a notable skill. I think it's something you can become skilled at. People, when they first try this technology, usually don't get great results. It takes a little bit of trial and error and skill, knowledge, to learn how to create a good prompt for different AI art generators. It might not take as much time and skill as actual drawing on paper or painting, whatever other art forms, traditional art forms that exist, but I still think there is some skill involved. Now let's talk about whether the AI art bots actually possess skill themselves. I mean, if we're going to start digging into definitions like this person did with this tweet, using the word skill as kind of a smoking gun here, skill is literally just defined as the ability to do something well. So can the AIs create art very well? I mean, here we are on the main Midjourney page here, and I would consider this art pretty skillful. I think it's well done. I don't think there's any denying that the AI is able to do this well. I mean, people wouldn't be upset about it if it wasn't able to do it well. So if we want to play the definition game here, using the word skill doesn't really buy you much. There even have been some memes here that have been created, and I think this is actually quite funny. How do you do, fellow artists? And it's just a screwed up image. Oh, that's funny. And okay, if we scroll down further, you can see this image. This is the image you might have seen floating around lately. And I really want to bring this up because this is a huge misinterpretation of how this actually works. They say, I created this image for everyone to use wherever they want. AI creates the art you see on the backs of artists being exploited. Okay, this is the unethical thing, saying that it's taking other people's art to recreate art. AI art is currently scraping the web for art and uses it in its datasets. No artists gave consent or to have their art used. We were not compensated. Okay, first of all, the AI is not currently scraping any art off of the web. These datasets are very curated. It takes months and months to build up these datasets, even years it could take up to build up a good dataset. It's not like constantly it's like Google image grabbing stuff and to create with. That's not how this works. These are curated datasets that take time to build. They cull things from the datasets, like nudity in particular is a huge thing they will go through and cull out of the dataset before they actually train an AI with. So this is just straight up wrong. If you start posting this image everywhere, you're not going to suddenly trick all the AIs into only generating this by using a specific tag. That's just not going to happen. It would be very easy to completely remove all forms of this image from an AI dataset if it even made it in there in the first place. So AI art is not currently scraping the web looking for new images. That's not how this works. And I'm going to jump into Artstation to show you all of these images being posted pretty soon. So this user on Twitter, Teacup Bun, created this little infographic here to explain their opinion of AI art from the artist's perspective here by using a cake analogy. So let's go through this analogy together, shall we? So it says, hi, I made a cake I'd like to share with everyone. I hope you like it. This is obviously supposed to be the artist and their cake. This is their art. Saying someone grabbed a piece of the cake here and he said, look, I made an instant cake, plus it has 8 different flavors, please enjoy it. This is already kind of a misinterpretation of how this technology works. It doesn't just grab and reuse a very specific part of any piece of art. This is not like a very advanced Photoshop at all. This is not how that works. It's not taking specific parts of an image. It's learning to diffuse new images based off of the aspects of other images that it learned about. Because this cake here that he's made is mashed up pieces of other people's cakes, but these are direct pieces of the art. So this is sort of claiming here that this is a direct piece of an art. It's not really that at all. It doesn't take the exact image of someone's head. It learns the intrinsic qualities, the very intrinsic qualities. It doesn't just copy pixels. Further in the infographic here, the artist says, that's my cake, you didn't make it. So far, I haven't come across any real diffusers, any real AI art generators that just directly steal images. In real life, it wouldn't be someone else's cake. It might be a cake that has some intrinsic qualities that it shares with the other ones, but it's not directly copying anything. Like I said, if it was directly copying someone else's work, it would be wrong, and it should not do that, but that's not how this technology works under the hood. If it was directly copying it, it wouldn't be a real AI art generator. And then it's saying that all of the people now are gravitating to the AI art. They only care about the AI art here. They don't care about the original art, which just isn't true. People still care about traditional art, obviously. People like both. A lot of people like both. I love both traditional art and AI art. And then these are apparently some of the comments that are traditionally brought up by people who like AI art, saying you are asking too much if you want people to stop making AI art. Yeah, that's true. You shouldn't be telling people to stop making AI art, especially if it's not in violation of any actual laws. This will be cheaper than real cakes. I mean, yeah, that's true. This is how technology works. When photography first emerged as a technology, it was a lot cheaper than having someone go paint out a whole painting of your family. It's just true. It's the way technology moves forward. Technology has been putting people out of jobs for centuries and centuries. It's an unfortunate side effect of technology. It's not like instant cakes will replace real bakers. I don't think anybody's really complaining about that. Most people know that AI art will definitely take a lot of the jobs of actual artists, and that's not a good thing. That's not something that we like. That's a really sad side effect of this whole thing. But you can't just block out technology because it's going to disenfranchise all technology has always disenfranchised. Electricity put people out of business. The camera put people out of business. The whole industrial revolution put millions out of business, if you want to think about it like that, but it also created millions of new jobs in the process. AI can be a little bit different, though. I feel like AI is very all-encompassing technology. I don't think anyone is like, wait, you didn't make AI art? I don't care about it if it's not AI art, so I don't really know what this bubble is talking about. It's harmless fun. In a lot of cases, it can be harmless fun, but it's powerful technology, and a lot of people do know that. You bakers complain too much. I don't think that there's any problem really with complaining about the problems that AI art could surface. But when people get really serious about it, start talking about lobbying and saying that AI art shouldn't exist in the first place, then I think that there is a problem to that. Here's a funny counter infographic that someone made really quickly. The artist, oh man, that guy's cake is way better than mine. I don't think that's necessarily the case every time. I think a lot of artists are just upset about how fast and easy it is to make AI art, not necessarily that the art is better physically. But yeah, this is kind of the reality here. The actual audience of people who like art, it's like, wow, oh my god, we got more art now? Let's go, because people like both traditional art and AI art at the same time. You can like both at the same time. It's not a competition between both. In the business space, in the business world, it might be a competition between the two because of how much cheaper it is to get AI art, but for the general artistic purpose, for the general audience, people who consume art, I think they're gonna like both. Like, it's easy to appreciate traditional art and AI art at the same time. So let's trail back to this graphic here. Support human artists, AI is theft. So if you go to the website Artstation here, and you go to the trending tab, you can see it's all just destroy AI art. People, you're protesting AI art here on the trending tab of Artstation. It's kind of weird because they're just kind of making one of the features of the Artstation website kind of useless, the trending tab. Like, this is not, you know, a lot of actual people's art. It's just this protesting stuff. But I think it's fair in terms of Artstation here that AI art on Artstation should be separate from traditional art. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like, let's say you wanted to do an art contest of some sort. You wanted to hold an art contest. I wouldn't want traditional artists to have to compete with AI artists because, yeah, it does take a lot less actual time and effort to create AI art than it does traditional art. So, you know, trying to make them compete with each other, if an AI artist just wins every time doing like a minuscule amount of the work, yeah, that's fair. They shouldn't be directly compared, of course. They're completely different methods of creating art. It's like photography shouldn't be compared with finger painting or something like that. It's a different art form. It should not be compared. And I think in terms of Artstation here, they might want to consider separating this out, but that's for Artstation to deal with. That's not for, you know, AI art shouldn't just shut down. That's not really the solution here. If AI art is being a problem on Artstation, Artstation should be the ones to handle that problem. They should come up with a solution for their website if that's what you're worried about. Same thing goes for like DeviantArt or any of that. You could separate AI art from traditional art on Artstation. I think that's something that could be done to a degree. It could be moderated. Another thing that I hear a lot about from the perspective of people who really like AI art, it's not really going anywhere with this technology. This technology, kind of the genie's already out of the bottle. There's so many different accessibilities now for this technology. You can generate AI art for completely free. You can do it really easily now. You can build your own AI models very easily because of the open source release of Stable Diffusion. Honestly speaking, AI Genie is out of the bottle and there's no getting rid of it really. It's going to change our lives forever. It's going to change everything. It's a really big deal for sure. AI in general, not just AI art. So I think that claim is true. The genie's out of the bottle. There's really not much you can do about it. So there was also this GoFundMe that was created saying protecting artists from AI technologies, and this one seems a little sketchy to me. It's a little weird. Apparently this Concept Art Association is organizing this fundraiser here on GoFundMe. By the way, if they don't meet their $270,000 goal, they keep all of the money that you donate. So you're not getting that back if they don't meet their goal. And if they meet their goal, well, of course you're not getting it back. But apparently here, they're an advocacy organization for artists working in entertainment. They do have a name here of a board member. And this person apparently has been one of the leaders in the industry fighting back against unethical practices happening in the AI text-to-image space. I have never heard of this person. I wouldn't be surprised if this whole thing was just organized by her, but she seems to be an artist. She's got some articles here on her website. Here's her Twitter here, so she seems to be a pretty successful artist. So they explain what AI art is here on their GoFundMe. Natural language prompt produces an image matching that prompt to a degree. There's a lot of creative nuances that get added in, especially with Midjourney. To condition that capability, the model needs to be trained on a huge collection of images, media, and text descriptions scraped from the web and collected in the form of a dataset. Scrapes from the web, some of the datasets probably do have some sort of scraping technology involved. Images, media, and text descriptions, most of them really are images and text descriptions, just images with text descriptions. And I think some of them, in the case of Midjourney, I believe ratings of previous generated images are also included in the data set. So what constitutes a good image is also included in their data set. I believe that might not be correct, but I'm almost positive of that. Images are generated from an input prompt by assembling visual data that attempts to best simulate the statistical correlations between text in the data set and images in the data set in order to produce acceptable results. Okay, so, that's kind of a lot to unpack there. Assembling visual data that attempts to best simulate the statistical correlations between text in the dataset and images in the dataset. So, it's a diffuser. These models are known as diffusers. I'll link this down below, but this is a huge guide to how diffusion models work. They are machine learning models, so this means that they learn kind of like a simulated brain. Diffusion models are not GANs. GANs aren't really used as much anymore. So here's the actual technical description. Diffusion models work by destroying training data by adding noise and then learn to recover the data by reversing this noising process. In other words, diffusion models can generate coherent images from noise. Diffusion models train by adding noise to images, which the model then learns how to remove. The model then applies this denoising process to random seeds to generate realistic images. This is a better description, I think, than the GoFundMe's description. So a little bit more technical. So this is the process of how the AI actually learns how to do it. They start with the traditional image, but they actually reverse process it by destroying the image into noise. And then they turn back and learn how to recreate it from just straight noise. So it's not like they're starting with aspects from a copyrighted image or anything like that. And they do attempts to recreate these images. But remember, the images that these models are trained on are obtained legally. As far as I know, I don't think Midjourney engaged in any illegal activity to use these images to train the models. I don't think that activity was illegal. Same thing for Lion 5B dataset. When you upload your images onto the web, let's say Instagram or something like that, I almost guarantee in Instagram's terms of service policy, it says we can sell your images, we can sell your data to whoever we want. Some of those websites, I don't know about like Artstation, but I know some of those websites, it's going to say, we can sell your data. We can take the stuff that you upload and sell it to companies, sell it to research companies like Midjourney or Stability AI, the company that created Stable Diffusion. They can sell it to that company for stuff like this. And then they legally have obtained your art and are legally using it to train their data sets. When you use free service like that, Artstation or Instagram or something, and you upload your art on there, well, so you legally agreed to those terms of service. Combined with text-to-image guidance, these models can be used to create a near infinite variety of images from text alone by conditioning the image generation process. Input from embeddings like Clip can guide the seeds to provide useful, powerful text-to-image capabilities. So yes, Lion 5B is a crawl of the internet. That's right, they did use scraping to create this dataset. But do you think that the scraping was done illegally? I feel like the companies that are, going to go through with something like that, I think they would be concerned about legal use application. If they obtained images illegally, by all means, they should be sued and prosecuted under the law. But I just have a hard time believing a company would go through with that And I haven't seen a single artist make a claim like that, claiming that it's obtained illegally. I've seen them hint at it by saying like, oh, it's stolen art, but they never make the claim that the images used for training were obtained illegally. I haven't seen that claim being made. So it learns the intrinsic qualities. It does attempts to recreate original imagery, and how every single image is generated with a text prompt, it's generated from straight noise. So it's not starting off with an image to begin with. It's not starting off with someone's copyrighted image to base it off of. It's starting with random static, random noise. Every single generation is completely randomly generated. You'll never see the same thing twice. If you saw the same thing twice, it would be stealing, I suppose, and it wouldn't really be a good AI art generator. The technology wouldn't work if it was just stealing and starting off with other people's stuff. It's like training a very complex human brain on images. That's pretty insane. But again, it's not stealing if the images used for training were obtained legally. Some of this data is copyrighted work of artists and the private data of the public. Again, I haven't seen any specific claims to copyrighted work. I have never seen anyone point to an AI-generated image and say, that's my copyrighted work in there. I can see all the specific various details of my artwork in that image. I have yet to see that. It might copy a style for sure. It can do Van Gogh's style, but it's not going to generate Van Gogh's specific artwork in a way that looks exactly the same and would be considered stealing it or copyrighted. But I think Van Gogh's work isn't copyrighted anyways. Like, I haven't seen a living artist with copyrighted work actually point to a specific generation say that is my art and it's stealing it directly. Whether you can copyright and own a style, I don't even think you can do that. Here we go. Copyright law protects finished works of art. It does not protect things like facts, ideas, procutors. I don't even know what that is. An established or official way of doing something. You cannot copyright a way of doing something. Or an artist's style. Again, you cannot copyright an artist's style. There's your smoking gun. You can't do that. If it steals an art style, well, there's nothing you can do about it because you didn't own your own art style. You can't copyright that. It doesn't matter how distinct the art style is, you can't copyright. And it says the private data of the public. Again, they don't provide an example of this. I have no idea what they're talking about, the private data of the public. Are you talking about like Instagram or Twitter images, for example? Like, I'm pretty sure when you sign up for Instagram, when you sign up for Twitter, you agree to terms of service that say we can sell all of your data. Like, that's a part of that terms of service. I'm not saying that that is morally ethical for those companies to do it, but you agreed to use that service, and that's the deal. If you upload your stuff on there, you're selling it. They do produce derivative works based off of probability and statistics. And sure, they are prone to reproducing biases because it's all based off of biases, based off of things you learn. Copyrighted works are presented within the datasets. Again, I have yet to see anyone point to a specific generation and say, that's my copyrighted work, or that's copyrighted work right there. Again, if it looks like it's in your art style, you don't actually own that art style. I know this is a quick Google search, but this is general copyright law. Just like if someone were to start making YouTube videos in my specific style, they could use all of the exact same equipment as me. They could build like a one-to-one recreation of my room and steal my style, but I couldn't sue them for that. They essentially say that you can describe AI art generators as advanced photo mixers, and that's just completely wrong. It's not a photo mixer. It doesn't mix other people's art together and make a Frankenstein Photoshop monster. It learns the intrinsic values of these images and their text descriptions and learns what they mean. It learns what it means to be a koala. It learns what it means to be a bicycle. It can combine them together in a realistic way. But they don't say it's illegal. They just say it's unethical. They mention Leon 5B dataset. Again, this is the scraper dataset. Gathered without artists, individuals, and businesses' knowledge or permission. They're not providing any context here, but I would find it hard to believe that they're going to do this illegally. If they can fund the project, they probably have lawyers involved. It's kind of a big deal to make sure that it's legal, right? Again, if it were to come out that the 5B dataset was obtained illegally, then that's fine. Sue them. You shouldn't be able to use that dataset. But if the art is obtained legally, there's nothing wrong with that. Where's the proof? Where's the example of copyrighted data? I haven't seen one yet. This GoFundMe says that they want to update data privacy laws to address this new technology. I don't want to get too political here or anything, but the big companies that heavily benefit from these privacy laws are very powerful, and I don't think they're going to like you trying to mess and change them around. Updating laws to include careful and specific use cases for AI and machine learning technology in entertainment industries. It would be nice if they actually pointed out to the specific laws. This is kind of a general blanket statement. Requiring AI companies to adhere to a strict code of ethics as advocated by leading AI ethics organizations. Again, trying to prove that this is super unethical is going to be pretty difficult, I think. No one is dead because of AI art. I mean, it's hard to ban things like really sugary caffeinated drinks or food items like really bad, unhealthy food. It's really hard to ban those, which literally end up with people in the hospital and people who are dead. So trying to stop stuff like AI, just based off of ethics, again, it's going to be really hard for them to even prove that it's stealing the art. And I personally don't think that diffusion is stealing art. It learns very, very similar to how a human brain would learn. Governments should hold Stability AI accountable for knowingly releasing irresponsible open source models with no protections to the public. Again, if you want to hold them accountable for what? What laws did they break? Who got harmed? Then you'd also have to prove that Stability AI wasn't negligible in this and that they knew about how it could harm people. So I haven't even come across anyone really complaining that much about AI art, how AI art has disenfranchised and damaged their life permanently in a way that Stability AI needs to be held accountable. It's not illegal to release open source models, even if they're powerful. They've had conversations with the lobbyist experts, whatever that means, and they say it's a long and expensive road, so here's why you need to give us some money. They have like this pretty basic breakdown. And yeah, people are definitely donating to it. They're not very specific. They don't provide many links to specificities. They don't even point out specific laws that need to be changed. They just say in general, these are what we're going to change. But where's the specific laws? Legally purchased. Again, I'm pretty sure that all these data sets have legally obtained data. They wouldn't go through with it if it wasn't. Remove all artists' work from the data sets in latent spaces. What if they legally agreed to it in a terms of service somewhere? That's just how that works. They probably legally agreed that their data could be used for such things. AI companies pay all affected artists a sum per generation. Yeah, I don't see this going very far. I mean, you really think that the government's just gonna say, oh yeah, well, you know, this opinion by the artist is what we're gonna go off of. There's laws in place. There's laws. If the art was obtained and used legally, I really don't think there's much you can do. But yeah, they want their money. Then they just link like a bunch of like random articles about AI art. I don't know. This whole thing just seems a little on the sketchy side to me. I feel like it's very possible that they don't meet their funding goal and people just take all the money. They just take the money and run. Like, I think that is very possible. A lot of people, it's happened before. They leech onto people who are outraged by something, fund it up, and then just run off with the money and don't actually do anything about it. So, I mean, this is kind of sketchy to me. If they provided a deeper GoFundMe and were a little bit more specific, I would say, like, this is not as sketchy. In general, AI is a very powerful emerging technology, just like electricity was, just like the internet was. It is going to change pretty much every single industry. It's not just the art industry that is affected by this. It's not just movies and films that are affected by this. Everyone is going to be affected by this. Lawyers will be affected by this. Journalists will be affected by this. Every single industry is going to be turned on its head by the AI technology. It's not just to be utilized in the art space. It can be utilized everywhere, and people will be upset about it, just like they were upset about the internet, and people are still upset about the internet and your iPhone. And again, the people that are upset about your internet and the iPhone, a lot of people call those people boomers. Well, I must ask, you know, in 60 years, if you're still upset about this technology, you're probably going to be the boomer. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys today. I know it's kind of a long video going into this topic. Tell me what you guys think about this in the comments below. Tell me what I might have got wrong in my arguments here today. I know I could have been a little bit more specific with a few of these things. Again, I'm not a lawyer though, and it's really hard for me to tell, you know, the legality of the Lion 5B dataset, for example. But if I had a hunch, I would have guessed that they're obtaining all of this data legally. Thank you so much for watching, folks, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.